welcome back to Good Morning Sri Lanka on the first Friday of the year. And we have Kishani Jayasinghe with us on the set. She is the first Sri Lankan opera singer to perform at the Royal Opera House in England. Now, Kishani.
Yes.
Every time I hear the word opera, for some reason, I think of Bianca Castafiore in Tintin. Do you know the character?
Yes, of course.
and the other thing that I think of is Bianca singing and a glass shattering somewhere.
And you wouldn't be the first, I tell you.
Oh, honestly,
really? No, yeah.
Seriously? Okay, honestly, tell me, can opera singing do that?
Yes, it's all about the frequency. So it's about whether you can, as you know, most materials have a certain frequency that they could shatter at. And with glass particularly, if you can, it is reachable unusually by human voice, depending on the type of glass. So it's got to be really thin glass of a certain type, and a certain type of voice with extremely high frequencies, which would do that. Okay. But it has been done.
It has been done.
So they
by
say.
You?
No, not by me.
So you've never really experienced it.
No,
like you hang around with a lot of opera singers.
I do. But I have to say, in the opera world, because there's so much going on with the 400 or something pages that we have to memorize in a foreign language, not to mention incorporating the acting and the singing and the dancing, that we don't always have time to sit around talking about who can shatter glass. I have to be honest. But that's just your answer. But I'll ask next time. I'll be sure to ask.
Maybe you guys should have like a glass shattering competition.
Yeah. Something I should think about, I think.
Wow, that's Wasam's that has Wasam written all over it, that idea, glass shattering competition.
I'm sorry, Amaya, I have all these weird thoughts in my head.
He's a man, he's a little boy sometimes, what can I say? It's okay.
Must indulge.
I am.
Must indulge them a little bit.
Okay.
So how did you end up in the UK and
I
pursuing opera singing?
Yeah, again, as I said, kind of a sequence of unusual or happy coincidences, really. I went to England for law school because that was the plan, as I said, doctor, lawyer, engineer, accountant. And it's something I really thought, I would love to do, and I did actually enjoy. So I did my first degree and I did my master's as well in international commercial. So on the way, I used to always try to keep my hand in singing just for the fun of it, really, not because I planned to do anything other than keep it as a hobby, really. And so I then met a teacher, again, as I said, so many things, kind of interlinked, and so many different people said this, that and the other, and I finally ended up with a teacher, Pamela Cook, in Nottingham, Mansfield, Nottingham. So I was studying at the University of Nottingham, so it was close by, and she, after several discussions and lessons, and she gave me the courage, I think, to think about having a stab at being a professional artist. Of course, as she said to me, these things don't happen overnight, and I realized that 2 law degrees ended up being a little bit of a cakewalk, I think, compared to trying to get into.
You think so?
In a very different way, because of course,
up until that point, you hadn't had any training in opera singing per se. That was a classical music background.
Yes, but also, I studied I studied with Mary and David in Colombo since I was about 5 or 6 or something.
Okay.
So we did do, the basis of it was all classical and all, So I think I had an affinity for opera in any case, because it's the voice type. Some people are better suited to musical theatre, some voices are better suited for pop singing, and mine, I think, had a certain operatic quality to it. So she picked up on it, and so I did do a lot of that kind of thing, and we had a couple of competitions, and I thought, let's see what happens. And so that really, there was a little bit of a foundation
as well, but you built up on that once you finished 2 law degrees.
Yes.
And then went on to opera singing. Amazing. These are amazing accomplishments.
Oh, that's kind, thank you. But I think, in a way, I've just been very, very lucky. Very blessed to have the opportunity to follow what I thought I wanted to do, and then have that as in your backpack, if you like, but also be able to follow what you really want to do. And I didn't realize, I think, until later on that my one passion has always been singing, obviously, but as I said, I never imagined that I would take it to a professional level until I finished the vocational
Well, actually, not only did she go to England, she also managed to meet somebody who actually visited our country
That's
quite
true.
recently.
That's correct.
Amaya's got a picture she's going to share with us.
That you've brought off your living room boy.
I know. I got a phone
We
call.
gave a very short
There we
notice.
go.
About
There
10
you go.
Let's see if the camera
The
can zoom
full-
into that.
Pictures which capture. You can tell me what this is. What I'm seeing right now.
Yeah,
And what everyone at home is going to see right now.
yes, this was after the
Wow.
Prince's 60th birthday celebrations, which was at the Buckingham Palace.
There you go.
And we'd just finished the concert, and I was very privileged to be invited to sing for him. And so we had this concert, and then of course, so concert gowns, and then I changed, of course, into sari, because
I was just going to mention that. I was going to point that out, that you wore sari to meet
yeah,
Prince
I mean,
Charles.
I always feel when I represent Sri Lanka, it's I feel most comfortable in it,
In a sari.
and we sing anyway in operatic dresses, and that's part of my professional persona. But
Yeah.
But that's singing at Buckingham Palace. That's crazy. That's
it was
amazing.
It was amazing, and we had
So that's
dressing
probably the
rooms.
first professional opera artist to wear a sari.
Well,
When you
I
graduated.
sang in concert dress. I sing
Yeah,
in professional
yes, yeah.
concert dress, and then afterwards for the presentation and the reception, because we did have dinner at the palace after.
Whoa.
Buckingham
It was incredible
It's not
and
every day
amazing.
you get to have dinner with the Queen.
No, I have to say that was a surreal
So, okay,
experience.
what did the prince say to you?
It's incredible. I think all the royals. I've been quite lucky. I've met the Queen, I've met the Prince, I've met the Princess, and so I think they must have amazing ability. Of course, they're born to this, but he, as you can tell, I don't know whether you can see it or not, but he knew what I was doing, where I was from, that I was from Sri Lanka, that I was an opera singer, and he asked me about my favorite roles, and luckily it turned out that he liked the same type of opera singing, the sort of the roles that I sing were his also his favorite roles, and so the Countess, and so it was really quite incredible, and it was quite a long chat.
Wow.
Really, was it?
And I've got to ask you,
That's amazing.
before you made it there, you knew you were going to meet the prince.
Yes.
What were you feeling?
I think it's a combination of, it's a little bit surreal. This is what I said.
But she was already a celebrity by then. She's like,
Well,
I'm just meeting Prince Charles. It's nothing
yes,
much.
that's one of the many. I mean, it's a
Go with the
special
flow.
occasion. It's always a special
Of course,
occasion
yes.
because of the ceremony and the, pomp and circumstance that goes with, the royal family. But it was a little bit sort of surreal because, as I said, there was a lot of preparation, a lot
Going
of
into
plans, protocol, all these things that had to be, done before you went there and after you went there.
What was the opera you performed for him?
It was,
That
they
day?
had a selection of things.
Oh, I
so,
see, okay.
yeah, so there were other artists as well.
That's
It wasn't, I would love to say it was an exclusive concert with myself, maybe someday, but, but it was a combination of artists, and so,
And I'm sure you'd have got a number of comments on Facebook for that picture.
yeah, I have to say, I'm a little bit, I don't know, I don't run to put everything on online, I
Social
think.
media.
It's a little bit of something that I wonder whether it's always things that people are interested in hearing about, or whether they enjoy it or not. So, of course, my close friends, all knew about it. And
Have you set up a fan page on Facebook?
yeah. Kishani Jayasinghe
All our
fan
viewers
page.
would want to know about this.
I believe it, recently, yes, there is one. So,
Brilliant.
go and have a look, and
Yes,
I'll make sure
we
to
will.
update
What's the
it.
URL? Tell us the URL.
It is KishaniJayasinghe.com. It's
Okay.
yeah, so it is on the way.
enough.
Yeah.
And if you want
So-
to get more details about what Kishani is doing, and if you happen to be in England at the time, maybe you'll be able to catch a show.
Yes, I go back next month. I go back to Scotland.
Actually, Amaya, she's doing a show next week.
That
But we
is
will
true.
discuss that.
We will discuss that
soon.
in
that
We'll
little
discuss that soon.
detail, thank you.
Oh, we sort of that symptoms like slipped my mind. I'm so sorry about that.
It's fine. I'm glad you remember.
We'll definitely bring it up. I'm sure after all this talk, they're quite
I
interested in
know.
what Kishani is capable of.
But what was your first opera? When did you sing for like a 3,000, 4,000 member audience for the first
opera.
time?
I'm just trying to think. I mean, of course, I'm just trying to think.
Did you have to
of the
work your
very
way up
first
from
one.
the chorus?
Well, I
to
went
the
in. I was usually. I mean,
supporting-
sometimes there is that path which you have to take. I was quite lucky. I went from the academy, from the Royal Academy, after my masters. I went straight. I auditioned for what they call the Young Artist Program at Covent Garden.
Okay.
It's a very select, kind of very exclusive, if you like, Young Artist Program where they have, at any given time, there's only 10 artists. So this is across a 2-year program. So each year there's an intake of maybe 4 to 6 singers. In our year, they already had 6 singers on board, so there were only 4 spaces, and there are thousands of applications, and it's a little bit of luck, I think, that they want what you have to offer. But there were, multitude of auditions. You have so many different rounds where you progress. You start with the sort of the general audition, then you go to the next level and the next level and the next level, and then the management also keeps increasing accordingly, and then you finally have your big audition on the main stage, which is in itself an experience, I think.
Is this at Covent Garden?
At Covent Garden,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So it's really...
That's where every artist wants to perform anyway. I mean, if you're a pop star or rock star or
it's
whatever
incredible.
you are.
It really is. There's so much history in the theatre because
Exactly.
the
and you know that
feet
you're
have-
standing where so many other artists have
and
stood.
you feel the energy of the artists that have been before, and so this getting on this program, because that year they took one soprano, which amazingly, by luck, incredibly, I don't know, was which I was able to get on, and so I bypassed that, that stage of. So from there you go in straight as an artist, as a young artist. So even in the operas at the Royal Opera House, I went in as a principal artist. So that was
an amazing achievement,
it was
right?
amazing. It was a little bit. You still think about it, and I can still remember, like yesterday, the first moment I had my first big general rehearsal on stage with the pit, with the orchestra, with the conductor and the other the chorus and the sets and costumes, and it was really a magical experience. I don't think you ever forget it.
Oh, well, on that note, Kishani,
We'll
we
try
need
and
to
see
go
some
in
pictures
for
right after we come back from the break.
we need to go in for a short commercial break. We've got more pictures with us. We're going to talk to you about Kishani's concert that's coming up.
And the
next
costumes.
week.
I want to speak about the costumes. They're going to exclude what's up.
We've got a lot of
Speak about
questions.
what she wears.
We've got a lot of questions, and we will
glamorous.
ask her those questions
All right.
soon after this commercial break, so don't go
Sounds
away.
good.